Jack Roush. Controversy follows us because we basically like to speak what's on our mind, whether it's going to offend somebody or not, or if it's the truth. And like Jack Roush, it seems like there's another controversy that's been brewing for a week or two, and it has to do with this sway bar. Michael Waltrip Racing takes this sway bar from Roush Fenway Racing, 2007. Honestly, what's allegedly?
They didn't take it honestly.
They didn't take it honestly? But what's the big deal about a sway bar, Jack Roush?
Well, there's very few things on the car now. There's increasingly fewer things on the car that you can change to suit your purpose to make the car better. You know, NASCAR really wants to put everybody in IROC kind of cars, and the things that you would, if you were to get down to rent a go-kart at the go-kart track, and everybody, you'd take 43 drivers, and they'd all suit up, and they would somebody would get the 43, and somebody would get the rest of them back through one, and you could draw lots, get in a car that's the same, and go to find who was luckiest enough or who was the best driver on that day and could win a race. That's what NASCAR would like, I think. But you know, as long as they give us 2 or 3 things, that any number of things that we've got some room on. Right now we can make the engines a little better, although it's a very small box on the engine, but you can make the engine a little better, or you can make it worse if you don't do it well. You can work on the kinematics, the actual geometry in the front suspension, including the sway bar. You can choose and valve your shock absorbers to suit your purpose, and move some small amount of weight back in the car, and jack and adjust the rear wheels or the front wheels to get the cross weights the way you'd like to have it. And if you do it better than your contemporaries, you can win. But you can have an advantage. But it's a combination of all those little things. And we sat down in the summer when we realized we were behind on the Car of Tomorrow car, looked at what we could work on. We decided that taking weight out of that front anti-roll bar and making it as stiff as it could possibly be would be to our advantage. So we did that and made up about 100 bars for roughly 20 bars, 24 bars each for each of our 5 teams, so it'd be 120 bars. And each one of them was serial numbered. They were all different. We sourced them from suppliers that were outside the mainstream. We'd made some of the parts ourselves. We assembled them and welded the tubes together ourselves. And we were happy and content and believed that we had the best sway bar in terms of its weight and its stiffness in the garage. Well, Michael Waltrip stole one of them at Dover last year. And we found out that it was missing in January, put the pieces together. You know, one of my managers confronted his manager, and they admitted they had it. And when they returned it, it had been altered in its appearance. They'd sandblasted the unique Roush Fenway color off of it, and they had sourced, the thing that really got our antenna up is the supplier in Greensboro that machines the ends for us. And then we machined the tubing and then assembled the thing, welded together ourselves. But the supplier that made the proprietary ends to drawings that we produced was asked by Michael Waltrip's development manager if they would duplicate the ends for the bar that he made for us. And we checked around and had a conversation, and one of the guys that worked for us knew that the bar had been seen and made an inquiry over there, and the bar was still there. So I was already to go in with I wanted to get a search warrant and go in, but in the meantime, reason, I guess, prevailed. Somebody called and asked if it was there, and the manager that they asked if it was there said he didn't know. He would go look. They thought about it and says, maybe we better give it back, and they did. But in the meantime, they didn't. Jim Oss, the Toyota guy. Then after Atlanta, when we had the big brouhaha, before we went to Martinsville, said that, well, gee, you know, it was just a spring, and we took it. It got mixed up on the inspection table, and all that, and I hadn't said it was a sway bar. I'd said it was a suspension component, and I was not specific when I initially spilled my guts over the thing. I wasn't specific that it was a sway bar. No, that Michael Waltrip Racing was the team that had taken it. And so he made the excuse, the lame excuse, I thought at the time, that it was a spring, and it was taken as an accident and part of a NASCAR teardown circumstance. And so I discounted all that. Well, that's not what it was, and I don't know why he said that. Well, I found out last week that they had in fact taken a spring too. There was a valve spring that came up missing at Fontana during the teardown, and it wound up. I guess when you go through a NASCAR inspection, you have Toyota people around. You better count your fingers when you're done shaking hands. I'm not sure, but at any rate, we wound up losing a valve spring. We didn't know it was gone, which was our fault for not having counted our parts. We didn't realize it was gone. We got the call 2 or 3 days later that said that they had the spring. They wanted to return it. They returned it. So they reported that they had it. They indicated it was a mistake. I can't say that it was not. But it was a proprietary part, the same as a sway bar. It was something that we have sourced uniquely. It was engineered by my guys. Roush Yates engine guys engineered the thing. It's unique material, it's unique heat treat, it's unique dimension, it's a unique harmonic function for the engine. So it really was the same kind of a piece in terms of being a proprietary piece that the sway bar was. So without my knowledge on that one, I was as much in the dark about that at Atlanta as I was in December that we'd lost the sway bar in September.
So you're telling me this is like a guy coming over here and stealing my old lady, taking her home, can't figure out how to make her work, then him calling me back up going, how do I make this chick work? Is that similar to what I'm to put it in lay terms, Jack Roush?
Well, I can't visualize that, but that would be a stretch, I think. But certainly they had the chance in both those circumstances to analyze, to reverse engineer, and if they decided that to suit their purpose, to duplicate it, to be able to do that. And I really feel that apology is due for the sway bar, not the valve spring, but for the sway bar. That would reflect that they understood they did something wrong, and once they'd been caught with it, that they would state that they regretted they had it and they wouldn't do it again, and that they wouldn't use the technology that they might have gleaned from it when they had the chance to peruse it.
So Jack Roush, multi-team owner, if Jim Ost with Toyota would come over to your house, maybe break a little bread with you and apologize to you, Jack Roush, would that put this under the table? Done? Gone?
Well, Jim Ost did say, regarding the spring, of course, it was in the context of the sway bar argument or discussion that he mentioned that the valve spring that the spring was taken accidentally, and so I really don't have a feeling of any ill will, nor of any sense that TRD and Toyota had intended to do that. Given the fact that once they have information, their engineering is reportedly shared from team to team. So without any, I think, malice of forethought, they had an opportunity to have a chance to look at what we were doing and make sure that they were at least on the same page we were with regard to the weight efficiency of that part and its function. So I don't have a bad feeling about Toyota and Jim Ost on that. It's not.
What about the cat burglar, Michael Waltrip?
It's a problem with Michael Waltrip. He's the same guy that showed up with a rocket fuel, the oxidizing agent at Daytona in 2006, and I don't know if I don't know that he did that himself, but certainly he was the guy that was caught with it.
Would you trust Michael Waltrip with your wallet on the table in the garage?
I'm going to be real careful about shaking hands with him.
The magician. Okay, there are so many things that can be so frustrating. I know Tony Stewart gets so frustrated at times as well. And he's even made the comment of, hey, I'm multifaceted in motorsports. I'll just go back to my open wheel roots. You are also quite multifaceted in motorsports. Drag racing, open wheel, sports cars, you name it. What about just saying, NASCAR, I'm sick and tired of you not doing what you should be doing, being a good sanctioning body and governing what's going on here. I'm going to leave and go elsewhere. Would that ever cross your mind?
Well, no, that would never cross my mind. Not, I'm 65 years old now. I've been in stock car racing with NASCAR for this is my 22nd or 23rd year. I have to count my fingers and toes and make some marks on the ground to figure out. I think it's my 22nd year, and I plan to go out the back door, NASCAR racing as long as we can make a viable business out of it, as long as the sponsors find it interesting and the fans are willing to buy tickets and NASCAR